And Masooma Batool Rizvi is a student at Dalhousie University studying dental hygiene. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Masooma has always been interested in interacting with different cultures and religions around the world. She is an active community member and is always interested in youth initiatives and interfaith dialogues. Masooma occasionally speaks at religious ceremonies in her community and participates in theological discussions to promote mutual understanding among the various denominations of Muslims. She represents Al Rasul Islamic Society at various interfaith initiatives with local churches and the other faith communities, and brings to Halifax her experience of living in the culturally and religiously diverse community of the greater Toronto area. So welcome, Masooma.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. May peace be upon you. That's what the meaning is. So, as you all know, women represent or make up 50% of the world's population. Therefore, their contribution towards family building. Can you hear me all right? Their contribution towards family building is essential in producing a productive Islamic community. So with respect to my discussion today, I'll be talking about the family as a building block of an Islamic community where the woman plays a pivotal role in shaping the family, therefore shaping the Islamic society. The woman plays 4 important roles in shaping or in a family building situation in the Islamic community: as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, and as a sister. So I will reflect on some early Islamic history examples of women who have been there in the past as Muslim women who were liberal and were active members of the community. And then I will talk about some of the challenges the women face today, Muslim women in particular, in certain parts of the world, and how that, with more awareness, can be combated. So the first role of a woman in Islam is of, for example, as a wife. In the past 1400 years ago, in the Arabian society, where women were more inferior to men, they were considered, where there was no Islam, women also had no respect, or they had less respect as opposed to men. The example of the wife of Khadija, the example of the wife of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who's the last messenger of God. His wife's name was Khadija, and she was a famous, renowned Muslim woman, a businesswoman in Arabia 1400 years ago. So she was impressed by the character of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in her merchandise, in her trade work, because of his honest dealings and character. And therefore, she was the first person to propose him for marriage, and later on became a very compassionate and true companion of the Prophet during the times of hardship, during the early times of Islam.
Can I just interrupt for a second? I'm wondering if you would mind coming around here. It's hard for me to hear, and I'm almost in the front row, so I'm quite sure it's hard for the back. Do you mind?
And also there are some front seats.
The male voice is dominating. So just make sure the female voice gets to be heard.
Perhaps they could be asked to come down a couple of levels.
Maybe to these two. And also there are front seats, so if anyone would like to move forward, please do. We can move our table forward.
Yeah, if you can maybe just come even to here, and I'll move this other way so the people behind can hear. I'll try not to look at you and make it too clear.
That's fine. So I hope you understand, you heard me at the back. So far I've been talking about the role of a Muslim woman as a wife in an Islamic community. And the fact that in the past, like 1400 years ago, during the time when Islam was in its beginning times, I'm talking about the wife of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who is the last messenger of God. So Islam starts from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And so he was proposed. He was 25 at the time when his wife, Khadija, who was a businesswoman in Arabia, proposed to him because of his impeccable character and his honest dealings with the merchandise she sent him with. So the fact that she proposed to him for marriage gives women liberal rights. They give them equal rights to be able to choose the partner they will to do so from early on Islam. Also, I pointed out that the Arabian society at the time did not value women equally to men, and they were considered more inferior. So Khadija, the wife of the Prophet, went against the norms, and she stood up. She was the first person to accept Islam when the revelation was made on the Prophet, and she also became a true and compassionate companion of the Prophet during his hardships. The only Islamic religious obligation of a wife in Islam is to be loyal towards her husband and supervise the upbringing of the family. Although she's allowed to choose whatever she wants to do. She can go in professionally, choose her career, like Khadija, who was a famous businesswoman. But the religious obligation with respect to being a wife by Islam is to supervise the upbringing. So this also shows some empowerment of women in Islam, in the family. The financial assistance must be provided by the husband. So that's the obligation of the husband in Islam. However, if the woman if she wants to choose to do all the household chores, which she's not obligated to do, she's not obligated to breastfeed the children even, and she's not obligated to do all the professional work either. But if she wills to do so, she's more than welcome. That's considered as charity work in Islam, and she will be rewarded for it. The Quran mentions in chapter 4, which is all about the women. It addresses all issues concerning women, all the rights of women, and therefore any woman who, for example, is divorced or is widowed is allowed to remarry again under the Islamic law. So in chapter 4, the women, it's mentioned, entreat your wives with kindness. So this is for all the men. Prophet Muhammad himself, peace be upon him, he used to say that the best among the men is the one who's best towards his women. So this is the role of a wife. This is the amount of respect Islam gives to a wife in Islam. The second is the role of a mother the woman plays in Islam and in shaping the Islamic community. So again, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, famous saying is, your heaven lies beneath the feet of your mothers. So this signifies the dignified role of a mother and how important she is in building up her family. The first example that comes to mind is the wife of the Prophet, again, Khadija, who was an impeccable mother. She raised her daughter Fatima with a lot of emotional strength. She also made her a very strong lady because when Khadija passed away, Fatima was left alone. So Fatima became the caretaker of her father, and she used to take care of him. So this emotional strength was given to her by her mother in terms of that. Also, Fatima herself played a crucial role in bringing up her children, which were Hussein, Hassan, and Zainab. And they played a very big role in saving Islam when faced with challenge in the tragedy of Karbala in 680 AD. So when the tyrannical rule of Yazid, who was also at the time a Muslim, but he rose up and Imam Hussein rose against him to defend the truth. So that training was also given by the mother, Fatima. The Quran shed lights on two mothers First is the Virgin Mary, who's also the mother of Jesus, and it mentions how when Virgin Mary was going through the pangs of childbirth, she was feeling lonely at the time. God sent her a message saying that you should not worry and feel lonely, because all your sadness, loneliness will be gone. I am here to protect you, so have trust in me. So he sent her fruits and from the heaven when she was about to give birth to Jesus. The second mother that's pointed out in the Quran is the mother of Moses. So when God instructed the mother of Moses to put her child in the river, she was again concerned about leaving her child in the river. And so God assured her that he will reunite her son with her soon. So later on in the Pharaoh's palace, she again is reunited with the son, and that also shows the promise God made to the mother and her importance. Whenever God talks about his creation and the love he has for his creation, he expresses it by comparing the love of a mother towards his love for his creation. So he says, my love for the creation is 70 times more than the love of a mother. So have trust in me. That's how much importance is given to the mother in Islam. And in this way, the mother also has shown to provide emotional strength in family building. The third example is of the Muslim woman as a daughter in Islam or in Islamic society. So the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Fatima, was an exceptional character. And she rose up her children, as I mentioned before, to save Islam in 680 AD in the tragedy of Karbala. The way Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, treated his daughter was against the norms of the Arabian society at the time. So, 1400 years ago, the Arabian society used to feel shameful and guilty of having a newborn girl born in the family. They used to bury the infant girls alive and did not have any respect for the girls. However, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he respected his daughter so much that he would give her the best seat available. He would always stand up in respect for her whenever he used to walk past her. According to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says, on the day of resurrection, the person who's going to be close to me is the man who has treated his daughters fairly. He has clothed them, he has feeded them, and gotten them married. So he has emphasized the role of daughters as a huge blessing for a family. Even his daughter, during the times of hardships, was given the title caretaker of her father because of providing emotional strength to her father when his wife passed away. The fourth role that a woman plays in the Islamic society is of a sister. So the sister I will talk about is Zainab, the sister of Hussein, the daughter of Fatima, and the granddaughter of Khadija. So we're talking about the same family because they're the best role models, and this is how the progeny. So Zainab, even though all her life she was surrounded by her brothers, she was in a family where she was protected, she wasn't safe, usually spent her time within the house. But at the time of the tragedy of Karbala, she had to stand up against injustice. And her brother was martyred on the sands of Karbala. So after that, the whole group was left with orphans, widows, and herself. She demonstrated strong leadership qualities, and she also used to give a lot of speeches in the courts of the tyrannical rule of Yazid, who was the opponent at the time. And she had to give these speeches because Yazid, the opponent, misrepresented her brother Hussein, and he misrepresented him as a rebel at the time. So she gave a lot of speeches and she went to public gatherings, and she was an emotional support again for her group. She also showed emotional calmness throughout. And through impeccable manners, they were highly regarded in the society. Now, this all shows the empowerment women have in Islam. They have a freedom of choice. They have freedom to be out in the public. And regardless of any consequences, they have a freedom to choose in whichever field they want to be in. And therefore, I will go into the modern Islamic women in the society, and sometimes how the news misrepresents the women and the way they're treated throughout the world. So the misrepresentation of the role of a woman or a Muslim woman throughout the world is because of the news and misunderstandings and misrepresentations of the religious context and books. A few challenges women face, for example, they're barred from education, they're forced to observe the veil, they're forced to marriage and then they undergo honor killings, they suffer domestic violence, they're not allowed to work, not allowed to drive in some parts of the world, and such practices which range from going from east to west. So they're mostly from the eastern part of the world, for example, places like Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia. And the key thing to remember and not to forget is that culture plays a huge role in mixing religion, in influencing these practices. So it's the cultural norms that have forced the men in those societies to treat women that way. Because Islam totally condemns women from being treated like this, as I have showed you previously in my previous speech about early Islamic history and the role models it has 1400 years ago. Okay? So first thing is the cultural norms, and the second is the ignorance that's tied in with the cultural norms. So the ignorance in terms of lack of education, low civic awareness of the people living in that society, in villages, for example, villages of northern Pakistan, Afghanistan, and some parts of India. And to point out that the culture, again, could be stringing from different religions as well. So even the religions that are practicing there undergo the same practices because of lack of awareness. So, which has nothing to do with religion. If these women in the East are given a chance, if there's more awareness, they're more educated in those parts of the world, for example, brought in the West, and given the same opportunities, the views of these men and women who are responsible for such treatment will change as people slowly adapt to the cultural norms of the society. As a Western Muslim woman, I can say I have professional freedom. I have freedom to choose my own partner, freedom to do whatever I wish to do so under the Islamic laws, under Islam, as I proudly say. And therefore, I want to say and conclude with that if women are given more opportunities to be educated, if we increase more analytical capabilities of the people to analyze religious texts appropriately, and also increase civic awareness, the challenges currently Muslim women face in today's world can be eradicated and eliminated. And we do work towards, because Islam is a religion of peace, it's universal, it's for everyone, and it encourages in the Quran that the killing of one Muslim or innocent person is the killing of the whole humanity. So when I speak of groups like the Taliban or ISIS, as it says, it's the Islamic State, I don't even consider them Islamic, because Islam truly, and it condemns any killings or treating people wrongly of the innocent people. So they have their own brand of religion. They have rather used religion towards their own advantage. and which has to be brought to the attention of the common people or public around the world, because that will help them become more aware. So it's more of an issue of the culture, it's more an issue of awareness rather than religion. Because religion does want, we are all one, we have been born, we're the creation of God, and God loves everybody. All right, thank you.
Once again, just a few moments of quiet after Masooma's talk.